Hey, good morning. We should be coming to, with the end of this weekend and going into this next week, the end of the transition into the start of the new school year. And I am always fascinated because I'm a little bit weird and I get bored easily in traffic in the watching the transition of the traffic patterns as school starts each year. The reason I say this and the reason it's fascinating to me is that usually there's a window of time over 3 or 4 weeks that school transitions and different schools start at different times. And I am always trying to figure out when is the tipping point where the correct number or the right number or the most number of schools actually start to dramatically create that impact to traffic. It isn't the first week of school. It isn't the second week of school, but somewhere around the end of the second week and the beginning of that third week of that transition, this past week when I pulled out onto the interstate to go to a meeting, it was backed up, stopped for miles on the interstate because all of those people were trying to get from dropping their kids off to their job at the same time. And that tipping point didn't happen at the beginning of the first week or the beginning of the second week. It was somewhere in the middle. And I always wonder what other areas of our lives have that transition point, that tipping point. And sometimes those things happen naturally to us, and other times they don't. And when they don't happen naturally, we find ourselves sitting on the interstate wondering what's going on, maybe being frustrated, blaming other people for something that was coming anyway that we may or may not have been prepared for. And then I apply that to what does that mean for the different areas of our lives. If you are someone who sails, and not many of us are anymore, but someone who's out on the water in a sailboat understands that they have to make course adjustments and that you can't sail directly into the wind or directly with the wind for long periods of time, and that you have to tack and make course adjustments. More of us are familiar with the fact that we plant gardens. And when you plant a garden, you don't plant a garden with the intention of never pulling weeds or never trimming leaves or branches. It's a continuing process. And you don't plant a garden with the expectation of never having to pull weeds. The Army Corps of Engineers creates long-term plans, 5, 10, 15, 20-year plans, and they build in a component called adaptive management. They fully intend to have to make adjustments to their original plan as they go. Where are the areas in your life where you naturally make adaptive management or course corrections, and where are the areas that you don't? Are there relationships that you expect to be maintained without any work at all? Your career path, your job, your children, your physical health, your emotional well-being, do you have an expectation of winding them up and setting them to go and never having to make an adjustment? Or do you find yourself stuck in traffic waiting for things to change? Take some time, observe yourself, maybe as you're sitting in traffic this week, waiting for the pressure to release as we all try to get to the same spot at the same time. Where are the areas in your life that you have that narrow thinking, where everything's trying to get funneled in at once, where you could have made a course adjustment, even if it's just an internal one, to try and alleviate some of that pressure of, I need a course correction, and I have the ability to do that. Feel free to make any comments or questions you have in the comment section below. I'm John Rhoads. I hope that you're able to find purpose and meaning in your daily life.